You know how sometimes you sit down to do something responsible, like answer an email or fold laundry, and instead you accidentally learn something that completely hijacks your emotions? That's what happened to me with today's Something I Learned While Avoiding Real Responsibilities.
Here's something I learned while avoiding real responsibilities.
I'm Brett. I fell down a history rabbit hole and came back with one of the most surprising, human, and frankly, unbelievable moments in modern warfare. By December of 1914, World War I had only been going on for a few months, but it was already absolute misery. Soldiers on the Western Front were living in trenches filled with mud, freezing water, disease, rats, and the constant stress of artillery fire that never really stopped. These guys were exhausted. They were traumatized, they were homesick, and many of them had been told the war would be over by Christmas, which, spoiler alert, it was not. Christmas arrived anyway, right in the middle of this mess, and morale on both sides was basically non-existent. Everyone was cold, everyone was miserable, and everyone was far from home, staring across no man's land at people they'd been told were the enemy, even though most of them had never personally done anything to each other. No man's land, by the way, is the disputed ground between the two opposing armies. On Christmas Eve, British soldiers started hearing something unexpected coming from the German trenches. It wasn't shouting or gunfire or insults. It was singing. German troops were singing Christmas carols, including Silent Night, which the British recognized immediately and responded to with their own songs. Then things got even stranger. Germans placed lit candles and small Christmas trees along the tops of their trenches, basically decorating a battlefield, which is not something covered in standard military training manuals. Eventually, individual soldiers cautiously climbed out of their trenches, hands up, unsure if they were about to be shot or about to experience the weirdest Christmas of their lives. Instead of violence, they were met with handshakes. What followed was a spontaneous, unofficial truce that spread across parts of the Western Front. Soldiers met in no man's land and talked. They exchanged cigarettes, chocolate, food, beer, buttons from their uniforms, and even showed each other family photos from back home, which is a real emotional gut punch when you remember these guys were supposed to be killing each other. They also used the pause to recover and bury their dead together, which might be the most quietly powerful part of the story. And yes, in several documented accounts, there was an impromptu soccer game. Not organized matches with rules or referees, just muddy soldiers kicking a ball around, because apparently, even in the middle of a war, someone will eventually say, "So, you guys want to play?" It wasn't everywhere, and it didn't last long, but for a brief moment, no man's land became shared space instead of a death sentence. Military leadership was not thrilled about any of this. The truce terrified commanders because it reminded them of something extremely inconvenient. It's hard to convince soldiers to fight when they realize the person on the other side is basically just another exhausted guy who also misses home and hates trench life. After Christmas, officers took steps to make sure this never happened again. Units were rotated, fraternization was banned, artillery fire increased, and the war machine made sure there would be no more spontaneous peace breaks fueled by carols and shared cigarettes. And, unfortunately, it worked. The Christmas Truce did not end the war. World War I dragged on for 4 more years and killed millions of people. But for one night, and in some places a few days, humanity interrupted history's worst group project. It showed that beneath uniforms, propaganda, and orders, people still recognized each other as people. That shared culture, shared exhaustion, and shared humanity could momentarily overpower one of the largest wars the world had ever seen. And that's kind of incredible. So yeah, something I learned while avoiding real responsibilities is that in 1914, during one of the bloodiest conflicts in human history, soldiers stopped killing each other because it was Christmas. No official ceasefire, no press releases, no social media post. just a mutual decision to say, Merry Christmas. I'm Brett, and somehow you made it through another episode of Are You Shitting Me? Something I learned while avoiding real responsibilities. Join me next time because I'll be talking about